Thank you very much once again. We'll speak soon again. The National Association of Realtors releases June existing home sales data at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. A healthy increase is predicted, although the rise may fall shy of May's jump of 4.9%, which was the highest gain since 2011, with pending home sales soaring way above expectations in June. Most economists are predicting a solid rise in actual sales to follow. Shari Olefson is the director of the Carnegie Group and the author of Financial Fresh Start and Foreclosure Nation. She joins me now from New York. Shari, good to see you. First of all, what are you anticipating with regards to the existing home sales data?
Well, for sure, we're expecting them to go up, just like you mentioned, Louisa, because the pending home sales were up last month. But there are still two major headwinds for home sales. One is the lack of inventory, and the other, of course, is the very difficult time that average Americans are having getting approved for a loan because of the new qualified mortgages that began under Dodd-Frank this year, but also because of changes at the Federal Housing Administration. You'll recall not too long ago, the FHA had to borrow money from taxpayers, and because of that, they're having to raise all of their fees, including requiring mortgage insurance throughout the whole entire life of the loan, as opposed to just the first few years, which used to be the requirement. As a result, people are paying as much as 25% of their mortgage payment towards those FHA fees, which is just putting homeownership out of reach for a lot of Americans.
What are you seeing with regards to the difference between the average buyer and the high-end buyer? I mean, the strength in both of these particular parts of the market, is it very different? Is one more solid than the other?
Sure. Well, you know, that's a great question, because home sales, existing home sales under $250,000 are still really dragging along the bottom. And again, that goes to inventory, because that's where those folks who own those existing homes are still underwater. As many as 40% of Americans with a mortgage still don't have enough equity to sell their homes if they wanted to sell their homes. The other thing we're seeing is something we now call rate lock-in, where folks who did refinance when rates were as low as 3.5% are now hesitant to sell because they don't want to lose those rates. And again, the new construction is a problem. We have only maybe around 600,000 new homes being built a year, which just isn't enough to keep up with demand. And the reason for that goes back to the problem folks have getting loans. Builders just don't want to build when they know that people are not going to be able to get loans to buy their products.
What do you think is going to happen to the U.S. housing market once rates start to creep up by a bit? We're still quite a ways off from the indications that we're getting, but are we anywhere close to being ready for this new scenario?
That's a great question, Louisa, because here's the thing. That tool, the Fed tool of being able to adjust interest rates, has usually been used in the past to stimulate the economy. The problem now is that rates have been so low for so long that younger Americans in particular consider any rate over 5% to be too high. And those folks who've been surveyed say that they will reconsider making major purchases if rates exceed 5%. So that tool that was once used to stimulate the economy is actually now stuck in low gear, and as it raises, may actually stall the economy again.
Shari, good seeing you. Thank you very much for being with us. Shari Olefson, director of the Carnegie Group and author to the book Financial Fresh Start and Foreclosure Nation. Now, up next, Bill